Wars fans, hey, there's just 105 days and 12 hours until Christmas 2021, and we've got our Star Wars weekend review with Star Wars Meg. Hello, my friend, and look at that fantastic avatar that you have there. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as always.
I absolutely love that. For those that are just joining us, Meg and I have been working on the technical side of things here for just a bit, and we got this up about 5-10 minutes ago, and you've been changing out your avatar, and I love this one. It's
I
great.
have, yes.
Yeah, it's great. Today, of course, everybody wants to talk about this KOTOR thing, right?
Okay. That seems like a good place to start. It blew
It
up on the
is.
internet.
It has blown up. It started last night, and I woke up this morning, and everybody's talking about KOTOR. I don't have a real strong background playing KOTOR. I'm familiar with the storyline, and for those who are new, I saw in somebody's chat today. Wait, KOTOR's a time, not a person. Like they thought KOTOR was a person. No, KOTOR stands for Knights of the Old Republic. KOTOR. KOTOR. So Knights of the Old Republic. It's a video game that's been around for quite some time,
It
right?
has. It should be the name of a character. It sounds like a character from the High Republic,
It
like
does.
KOTOR Sulukamai.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good. But I think it is a very very popular video game, and some of the characters from that, especially Revan. Revan has established himself in Star Wars fandom quite a bit, and he's exceeded just the game. There's some books with Revan in it, and he's actually been mentioned in the uh, the Clone Wars, right?
He
He
has, and he's also got a mention in the Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary.
That's right. So Revan is a canon uh, character, and the question that there is between what uh, is Legends Revan and what
Hmm.
is canon Revan. All we have in canon is a mention of his name, more or less, and in of course in Legends there's a lot, right? There's a lot because
Indeed.
people have built it out, and then in the novels as well. So for folks who may not know much about Revan, you wanna give us just a an overview from top of your head?
Oh, that's a big task. I think there's a lot of context that needs to be laid down about his whole backstory. I think you would do a better job at it.
Well, I'll give it a shot.
Go
You
for it.
fill in the things I skip over or maybe miss. So Knights of the Old Republic. It's time before the High Republic. If you're reading the new novels, it hundreds of years before, thousands maybe. But Knights of the Old Republic is Revan is a former Jedi. He comes up as a Jedi, and then he leaves the Jedi Order, but dabbles with the Sith, becomes a dark side user, and there's a great deal of things that happen. Very, very powerful dude. He comes back to the light side, just to shorten things up. He comes back to the light side. He gets married. Bastila is his wife, and then then things happen. So I mean that's just a brief and everybody wants Keanu Reeves to play Revan. That's that's about it.
Yeah, I remember there was a time back in November when Inside the Magic were every week saying that Keanu Reeves is going to be Revan confirmed. It's like the Mike Zero of the Star Wars news article.
It is. It really is. But the interesting parts about him are that he has been both, right? He was Jedi, left the Jedi Order, and then was a dark side user, and then came back to the Jedi Order. And he's known for the purple lightsaber and a red lightsaber. often both, purple and red. Um, and there's a lot of backstory from the novels. There's a super powerful like Sith Lord that rules for hundreds of years, and Revan basically um, he doesn't exactly sacrifice himself, but he goes into he's taken captive in a way where he is kind of keeping this dark side guy at bay, but he's also trapped. Like, is that is that even close? Is that am
Yeah.
I I'm trying to
I
not
need to
like
polish up on my my knowledge on this stuff.
yeah, I gotta work on. Oh my goodness! Hey, we've got some folks here. Good to see you, William Show and it cut off the William Show there. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in, and yeah, Quentin Lee. That's the gist of it. Okay, well that's what we were just trying to get to the gist of it, and I think we've covered it. So KOTOR, the game is being remade,
It is.
and um, and from the word the press release and the things that I've seen, it's a complete remake. And then the question is, will the remake introduce into canon more Revan content?
I hope not, and I think a lot of people want that confirmation that it is Legends because it always has been. And I think that's the fun of the game is that it doesn't need to interact in any way. I mean, not that it would because it takes place so far before anything we know, in canon to do with the High Republic and then the prequel era. So
Right. And
even if it was
Kieran,
canon, but
Kieran, thank you for the €3 super chat. Right, that's a euro.
that's
That's
yours, yeah.
yep. That's not a pound. That's more of an L. So that's a euro. Thank you so much for that, Kieran. We appreciate the support. Um, right. So and Ronnie raises a point that keeps coming up as well. They may make Revan a female. What do we think? Now,
No, 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 no.
and what I understand, KOTOR and this game as well, there are customizations that you can do to characters, and in the existing KOTOR game, if you want to play Revan as a female, you can do that, and that's likely to be the case in the remake as well. You want to play Revan as a female, you can do that. That doesn't mean that it canonizes Revan being cross gender or a bisexual or anything like that. It's just that you have the option in the game of kind of customizing things, and
Bisexual's a sexuality, Santa.
I understand.
It's different from gender identity.
I I know, but then they all go on there with it's all on that same path, right? As
Hmm.
people start worrying about what they're going to do uh, to the character, they're worried about changing not only their gender identification but their sexual orientation and all of that, right? So, from my perspective, my guess is that it's going to be the same. You can customize as much as you want, and you can decide whatever you want it to be. But the canon version or the straight line version of the
Hmm.
character will continue to be male, and
Yeah,
it's a
that's
yeah,
what I understood by his question.
yeah. Uh, and Nikki bringing up the person working on the game. That I did see some stuff about that, and I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So I did a little bit of uh, Google search and see what the internet's had to say, and
Hmm.
and before I give my 2 cents on it, do you have anything?
I think it's like this whole thing of one of the creatives or two of the creatives on the game are what I guess people on the right side of the political aisle might call woke. I don't use
Yeah,
that word,
right.
um, but I'm not worried. I don't think someone's personal affiliations is going to play too much of a role into the remake. And I think there's a lot of fear mongering around KOTOR being a complete disaster, and it's just going to be some woke haven, as they say.
Right.
I don't think that comes in at all, because you can have those views and still be a diehard Star Wars fan who loves Revan as a male. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you need to understand that even a lot of the people that are revered within Lucasfilms, uh, uh, John Favreau and Dave Filoni, may have political views that don't align with what you think.
Dave
And
Filoni is super woke. If you look at anything he said about Ryan Johnson, about Rey as a character, he basically got a hard on when Rey defeated Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi.
right,
It really awoke his force.
Meg, you're feeling better. I'm glad you're feeling better,
I
by
am.
the way. But I can tell. I can already tell. Yeah. So, oh my goodness, the comments. Right. The point is, as long as the folks doing the game development, doing the storyline development, are loyal to the character and the character story arc, it should be fine. And from the interview that I saw, Star Wars Theory played it back, and he was talking about it this morning.
Hmm.
Is that they've got a room full of Star Wars fans who have, Star Wars paraphernalia on their desks and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be concerned about their loyalty to the character or the storyline. Now, that doesn't mean that there might be changes to that storyline, not just a complete. And they talked about this as well. Like, it's not necessarily just an update. They're remaking it, right?
Yeah, it's literally a full revamp.
Yeah. So if parts of the story arc change due to it being rewritten, completely remade, then that I think that should be expected. And if somebody gets upset because, well, that's not how the story went in the previous, then maybe they should align their expectations to a complete remake,
Are they
right?
really going to change the story that much though? Because what material are they going to be using to change those elements? I would expect the people working on this would be really knowledgeable inside out about the original KOTOR. The one thing I was thinking about was Tython, because we've had a canon appearance of Tython
Oh yeah,
since the original KOTOR last year.
yes,
We had the Mandalorian season 2. So I'm
right,
wondering, are they going to change the way Tython looks? Because the Tython of the Mandalorian was a completely watered down version of Tython from KOTOR. KOTOR. Sorry for the motorbike outside. It's probably Uber Eats. They always anyway. So the Tython from the Mandalorian is really watered down. It just looked like a grassy plain that you'd find in a mountainous region of pretty much anywhere in the
right,
North Atlantic.
right, right,
But
and right, but that's a very good point that they may try to align it to canon, and will the storyline itself, will the gameplay in this story, the backstory in the game, be canon or legends? And at this point, I don't think anybody knows.
I really don't know. We just have that one thing to go off of, that one little teaser. Someone is completely right. I've completely messed up because I was confusing KOTOR with SWOTOR when I said
Oh,
Tython,
oh, and SWOTOR is Star Wars,
the Old Republic.
the Old
So yeah, I
Republic.
apologize. Forget what I said about Tython, but that could now come in.
It could, and I still think that you're on a good train of thought, because some of the some of the environments may get an update based on what other things that we've seen, Python, or uh, they may bring other elements in, introduce other planets that weren't in there originally because now they exist. Let's say that they decided to put something on, oh, uh, Crate, so
Yeah,
just pick
that's a
some planet,
possibility.
right? They could bring something in that wasn't in the original game, another environment to visit, another storyline to add, and things like that. Yeah, Nikki, I see you. You're fine. No, we're we're fine. The whole it's the fan bashing part, and I get what you're talking about. And I go back, and the example I use is Ryan Johnson saying your Snoke theory sucks. That's a bad idea. That's a bad take. Because fan theories are fun. That's what engages people, and that's what gets people kind of uh, uh, excited about what might be happening. So when you
Yeah,
kind of
I also agree. I also agree exactly with what Nikki's saying. The fan bashing is not justifiable, no matter what you think of a property or of a project.
right,
Like I really like The Last Jedi, and I would have respected Ryan Johnson so much more if he had stood by his original statement, which is, I wanted to create this film to be divisive. I wanted to have half of the fandom absolutely love this and forever see it as, this cult classic, and then half the fandom to really dislike it. If he had just said that and walked away, I would have had much more respect than if he then jumps in with, sending the middle finger gif to
uh,
a bunch of fans who disagreed with him on Twitter.
well, and that's right. It's the fan bashing that different folks at Lucasfilm have kind of engaged in, and sure, they may have done it on their own or in their own accounts outside of their official role within the company. But you have to understand that when you are a producer or director or part of the story group, that that stuff carries with you. And when you bash some of the fans, then it's going to be taken very harshly. And maybe you're somewhat restricted in what you can say because of your role, but you just have to accept that's part of your life. And the benefit is you get to work on these fantastic projects, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
And another creative that, I wouldn't say I lost respect completely for Ryan Johnson, but there is one person at Lucasfilm who really just should have stayed away from all of this, and that's
yeah.
that. Is it Christina Ariel?
Oh, yeah, she got in trouble.
I've
Well,
lost all
and
respect for that woman after some of the comments to the fans.
right, and when you get to this person that's involved with KOTOR, it's the same sort of thing, where they've kind of had arguments with fans on political topics that some fans differ. And rather than, let people live and let live, then it creates this tension. And when they come in and they work on a beloved project, say like KOTOR, then people get worried. And I understand them being worried. But
Mm.
I agree with what you said earlier. Like when you get involved in the actual story writing, you get involved in the actual development of the gameplay and how that all executes. Um, let's wait for that before you get
Yeah,
upset.
exactly. Let's wait and see. It's not going to be as bad as people think. At least I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too. And even though I've never played, well, I've played bits of KOTOR here or there. It's just not, I have a game addiction issue that I try to minimize my contact to those things. So I've played it like when I went over to friends' houses and stuff, and they were playing. But I don't own the game. I don't own a game console. Now, have you played KOTOR much?
I've played it, but I don't remember everything from it. It was a long time ago, because I was really interested in Star Wars when I was very young during the prequel era, and then for a while I kind of stopped the gaming side and kind of just sticked to the movies and the action figures and everything. But I would say I've played it sporadically, so that's my answer.
Sorry, I'm just choking to death. That's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll entertain this lovely community.
There you, yeah, because it's going to be a second before I can talk again.
One of my favorite games at the moment is the Lego Jurassic World. That is really fun. You wouldn't think it's fun, because if you like Lego Star Wars, there's this assumption that it doesn't get better than that when it comes to Lego games. But I was really surprised by how good the Jurassic World one is.
I'm generally a fan of all the Lego stuff. I'm really looking forward to the the Lego Star Wars when it eventually comes out, hopefully next spring. When it comes to KOTOR, now they just announced this the project, and in that trailer it said not actual gameplay because I don't think there is any, right?
No, it's just like a split second cinematic. There's a name for it. It's like a cinematic something, and they use that in the gameplay to lure you in. But
Right. And how long do you think it'll take before we actually see any gameplay or for the game to get released?
well, if Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga is anything to go on, probably 2026.
I I think you might be right. I think you might be right. It might be a little bit, but on the positive side, this is not oh shoot, EA, right?
No, it's
This is
not.
not EA developing this, so people feel really optimistic.
Exactly. EA have done a shockingly bad job in 10 years to fans of Star Wars gaming.
Yeah, under
Star Wars Only
delivered.
has a brilliant video about this.
Yeah, he rants on about them quite a bit. Star Wars only, he's more than a little perturbed at EA's lack of attention to the franchise, and he's not alone, but he's very vocal about it, and I think he does a great job of expressing the frustration that fans do have.
Yeah, I really respect Star Wars Only. He was one of the first YouTube, even though he's younger than me, he was one of the first YouTube channels I came across to do with Star Wars, even before I had a channel. And we're actually collaborating. I haven't announced this anywhere, so this is exclusive, but we are making a 20th anniversary. Well, I'm making it and he's contributing to it. 20th anniversary Attack of the Clones documentary next year.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. We're looking forward to that. And Boss Bounty's here. Now, Tim was on yesterday, and we had that fantastic live stream. And here he is saying he's giving you a little more love there, Meg. Today, great guest. Trump's yesterdays, meaning himself. I thought Tim did a great job yesterday. I had a great time talking
Tim does
about.
a great job, and he's a channel I discovered through Santa. And sometimes I just find myself scrolling through because I'm subscribed to him and I've got the notifications. I find myself scrolling through, and then I just kind of watch his videos and just relax and tune in, sorry, to what he's saying about whether my favorite one was the Sand People, the Tusken Raider comparison he did. That was, I think, one of my favorite videos. But he's one of the best, if not the best, Star Wars toy reviewer on this
I
platform.
I agree, and I watch his videos and see how terrible I am at it, and I'm like, I need to get better. So I'm trying to get better, and Tim is certainly a role model for me. And Boss Bounty for the vintage collectors out there, I agree. He is the guy you need to be subscribed to keep up on that stuff. He's fantastic. And look, we've got only one Kenobi here as well. Another one of our guests from yesterday. Thank you
That
for
was a good
joining.
panel.
It was good. Those guys have great chemistry together, and they're good friends. So thank you so much for being on. Anything else on KOTOR before we change topics?
I think I said everything I wanted to in my video today, but
You
other than
did.
that, I think I'm good. Unless you have anything more to add, we could talk about.
No, the last thing that I was curious about is when they actually might show some gameplay and when we might see the game scheduled for release. And who knows if it'll be a year, 2 years, or five, right? Well, it's not EA, so hopefully it'll be sooner than later, but who knows?
Who knows, as you
Right.
say.
So a couple other things. Kenobi. There's a speculation out that it may come in June of next year.
I actually avoided talking about this in my news updates.
You did. You did. It barely came up. You kind of touched on it, just that it may be coming around Star Wars Day, I think is how you put it.
Yeah,
But
I think it's got to be May the 4th. Because if you think of it, I don't know if we're going to talk about it in this update, but with the Mandalorian season 3 filming from September to March the 23rd, is it?
yeah,
It seems as though that's going to be the winter release, and I suspect it'll be October. So if we have Andor straight after the Book of Boba Fett, which has been, rumored for a very long time, they're definitely going to give us Obi-Wan Kenobi probably on May the 4th, and then the Bad Batch season 2 after that.
yeah, and the speculation comes. Let me share this on screen so folks can see.
And I don't
Uh,
think people realize just how big the Kenobi series is going to be. It's literally Disney Plus is their biggest series ever. This is the Star Wars series fans from across all three trilogies
oh,
have wanted to see. The young
exactly.
fans, the older fans, the prequels fans. It doesn't
Yes.
get bigger than Obi-Wan Kenobi. We all want to see where does Obi-Wan end up 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. And obviously seeing Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, hopefully Liam Neeson as a Force voice.
Yes.
And we've spoken a bit about Ian McDiarmid and a suspicious email that I received in response to requesting to interview him.
Yes, we have talked about that. And I will let you decide how much of that you want to say while we have folks listening. So,
I think the cat is out of the bag.
yeah, let me share this. So, this came up on our Discord this morning, and this book called "Be More Boba Fett." Uh, and now there's another follow-up book called "Be More Obi-Wan," and the "Be More Boba Fett" was scheduled to release in tandem with the series. And Be More Obi-Wan is set to be released June 7th. If they follow the same uh, pattern, that would put the Kenobi series being released in that time frame, early June. So it possible it could be May, but also possible it might not happen till June. So I think the speculation there comes into we get an idea. Kenobi, I would expect it May, June of 2022.
I absolutely agree. I can't see why they wouldn't use May the 4th. I bet even when, they were giving, when Lucasfilm were having like a briefing about, even before the series really came to fruition, I bet they thought whenever this comes out, it's got to be on May the 4th. It's
I,
too poetic.
well, Meg, maybe you give too much credit to Lucasfilm for knowing these things.
Circus film.
I, this last May the 4th was a bit of a dud from Lucasfilm anyway, right? Um, to
Yeah, we
presume
got
that they
the real lightsaber reveal. Well, we
right.
got the Bad Batch. We got the Bad Batch.
And then that's what Dale's saying that season 2 of the Bad Batch happen there May 4th. I wonder about that though. How many Star Wars shows might we have happen concurrently? Like how
I
many
would
shows
say
would release in a single week?
I don't think they would they? I mean, the only show I could see overlapping is Andor, just because it's 12 weeks long for season one. So I
Yeah,
would see Andor overlapping with something. We don't know if Visions is going to get some more installments next year, which is also quite likely. But I think with Kenobi and the Bad Batch season two, I doubt they would allow those to run concurrently with something else. They need to be in the spotlight. But then, is there enough time in 1 year for all of this?
right. That's that's the other part, right? Like we've talked a lot about the shows that are coming in 2022, and starting with the Book of Boba Fett, that's going to bleed over from December. We know in January there'll still be a little bit of that left over, and then Andor, Kenobi, The Bad Batch, Mandalorian season 3. We'll talk about that in just a moment. all of these, you have 52 weeks. How many episodes, if you add them all up, 6 plus 8 plus 10 plus, and how many weeks are in there, and are there enough weeks that there won't be more
Here's the
than
thing.
one?
I think, before we knew that Andor and Kenobi had officially begun production, or even when they were in production, a lot of people were speculating they're definitely going to postpone some of this. And even I jumped on that bandwagon thinking they're not going to be able to put out all of these shows in 1 year. But now that we know that Andor, Kenobi, they're both in post production at the moment, they've got all of the
Yeah.
footage they need. Obviously, we have the Making Star Wars and LRM and Star Wars Newsnet confirmation that Kenobi finished a few days ago. So it's happening. These are shows that are coming out next year. So I really, really am curious. We might get information on November 12th. How are they going to do this? How are they going to plan out 2022 for Star Wars? Because at the end of the day, are casual fans going to be that invested? Is the big bulk of the money Lucasfilm is going to make through the streaming service going to come from that? Because, having one or two shows would be one thing. We've literally got 4 series.
Right. Right. And Jimmy gave us a nice list there, right? 34 of the 52 weeks. And that's not even taking it. And hey, Goldman's here. Good to see you, friend. I said Boba Fett's going to be at least
Yeah,
6 weeks into 2022,
that's
right?
correct.
So,
Because we don't even know when in December it's going to start.
right, we don't know if it's going to start December 12th or December 22nd or what, right? I just made up those dates on top of my head. I don't even know if those are Wednesdays. Who knows? But
Santa secretly works for Lucasfilm.
I do hope that on November 12th, we will get a full calendar. And then we'll at least have some idea. And Kendall here from Normies to Nerds, there's X-Wing. Look at X-Wing. He's picking on you, Meg. How do you, I mean,
Who's this Meg character?
you know,
I don't know.
I don't know. Is it Meg or is it her cat? We've already had this discussion before. We
What's
don't know,
really
do we?
interesting is over time in my comments, it's really fascinating because obviously if you're from like an English speaking country, Meg, you know the name Meg. But there are people who don't know the name, and the only thing they know to do with Meg is the Megalodon shark because of The Meg, which is the Netflix
Right?
series. And so
Right.
people ask me, did you name yourself after the shark? It's like, no, that's my name.
It's my actual name. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents were big fans. No.
big big fans. Goldman here. What's he say? They'll probably do the same thing Marvel's doing. Marvel had at least 5 shows in 2021. When one ends, the next one starts 2 to 3 weeks later. I don't even know if they have that much time in between. Goldman. There you go. It might be even shortened. One ends, the other starts. Right.
Yeah. I'm also considering the possibility, what if they do actually postpone one of these series to 2023? Like, even though, let's say, Obi-Wan Kenobi is wrapped up, and we just get some sort of teaser next year, but it's really coming for... Do I ever get shut up, Meg from Family Guy? That was literally the only comment I got when I was at like 1,000 subscribers. That's literally all people said to me, and it's like, okay. But the irony is, I am a Family Guy fan, but it's different to receive that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, are you familiar with this book, Meg and Mog?
No, I'm sorry.
I don't know it either. I thought maybe this was a British thing.
Megan
What
Mogg
do I know?
sounds very British.
It does, doesn't it? Let me bring up one more point because we're kind of touching base on it now. The Mandalorian season 3 shooting schedule. We've seen a little bit about this, and I think you touched base on this as well today. September 20th to March 23rd. That's a pretty long window, right? We're
Yeah,
talking
that's a
7
very long
months.
window. Again, it
Yeah,
depends on what they have to do. It depends on Pedro Pascal's schedule. There might be something to do with that. You know what I suspect? It's kind of like with season 2, where the final 3 episodes were completely separate, planning wise, to the rest of the season. And this is something we found out after the fact. And if that's the case, then either they have big plans for what they want to do with the finale. Is it going to be a two-parter, kind of like chapters 15 and 16? And do they need more time to schedule everything? If, who knows, Din Djarin gets a face reveal, if they bring in another actor who is a big surprise, another big cameo, there's always reasons why they give themselves that extra space.
Yeah, and as I highlighted, Goldman was saying the animated show, the Bad Batch, isn't going to. We already know this. Not everybody watches the animated series, so you could overlap some live action stuff with the Bad Batch on either
Mhm.
end of it.
Yeah.
Uh, and here's confirmation: it is a British thing. The books, British kids' books from the '80s. So you're way too young.
I
The
wasn't
'80s.
created until the 90s. I was manufactured in the 90s.
I mean, like you're just a hair older than my youngest daughter, who once said, "Is anybody even still alive from the '80s?" So, you
Okay,
know,
well, I'm not. Yeah. Bosk's Bounty is correct. I am from the Southwest. I'm not from Somerset, though.
yeah,
See, British people can kind of work out where in the UK I'm from just by my accent. But to Americans, it's like generic Brit.
but yeah, more or less. I assume London. Because it's
I
big.
live in London. I live in
Well,
London.
okay, there. I'm not wrong then. I mean, maybe I am, but anyway. I just somebody says they're from England. I think, okay, London. I know, I
Yeah.
it's just how American I am. I clueless. Yeah,
But I think
like
we have the same thing for you guys. I think unless you're from like Mississippi, everything
right,
sounds like if it's really thick Southern,
right,
I think it sounds very similar. I can tell the difference between like Canadian and American, but again,
sure,
American is like. But you guys can tell the difference. Oh, you're from North Iowa, and
right,
oh, I'm from East Nevada. It's like to me, it's just America.
right, right. Uh, right. We could tell like Boston, New York, New Jersey, Midwest, Southern, right?
I can
Things
tell
like that.
Boston. Is
Yeah.
Bill Burr from Boston?
I don't know. I don't know that much about Bill Burr, but I do know Bostonians' accents. I've got friends who are from Boston, and you can pick up on their accents really, really strong. Uh,
Boston.
uh, X-Wing, it's Nevada. That reminds me of Hermione Granger, right? It's
Hermione. I used to think it was Hermione, but they do say never make fun of someone who learnt a word reading it because even though they can't pronounce it, they read it first. So they took the incentive to go out of the way. And
very good. My good friend Adam, Fan Jexture, if you guys aren't watching Debate 8, you should. Debate 8 is probably the best show on YouTube. And he's got like 600 subscribers. Folks need to go check out Debate 8 and Adam. He does a fantastic job there. And he just did a bunch of shows that I've never watched, a bunch of movies I've never watched, and the show was still good, right? So, and you'll have to remind me, Adam, what your next Debate 8 is. The next one I'm really looking forward to. This last one I was like, eh, but the last one was oh, I can't remember the actor. He'll give us an update, but
I was just going to respond to Tim because
yeah,
Bosk's Bounty said Family Guy's Boston. I thought Family Guy's Rhode Island,
I
Spooner
don't.
Street, Rhode Island. I'm a diehard fan.
I don't watch Family Guy.
Oh, you're
It's
missing out.
it's
But
not.
if you start watching it, you're going to have all these shut up Meg jokes. So every time I speak, like, shut up, Meg. It's like, oh,
Oh, there you go. That's right. Fan Jaxter's doing greatest sitcoms of all time. That's the next one, and he's got some great list of them, and we're looking forward to having that next week. Brad Pitt movies was the last one, and I'm not a huge Brad Pitt fan, so I've like seen none of them. But this next one, the greatest sitcom, is going to be really good. Yeah, it's Debate 8 with the 8. With, let's see. Yeah, it's like that, like debate 8. It,
There are a couple of people from Utah, and I read it as Utapau. It's like, I'm from Utapau. I was like, oh, there's no war here unless you brought it with you.
oh, that's
That is a
great.
deep cut to Revenge of the Sith, and if you didn't get that, you need to go rewatch the film.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'll have to go watch.
It's Tion Meaden, the Powan.
Okay. You can't find him on YouTube. The channel is Fanjecture. So look for Fanjecture is the channel. Debate 8 is the show. So he does every Wednesday now, 8 p.m. Eastern. So I normally catch it the next morning because I don't catch it live. But you can, even the replay is good fun. But yeah, look for Fanjecture as it shows up here, just like that. You'll see the logo and find Debate 8. It's fantastic.
Take me down to Chipotle City, where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. I don't know.
Yes, Goldman, I have heard Meg do an American accent. You slipped it into one of our discussions.
It was
I
about a
was like,
sandwich, wasn't it? Subway.
it was. I was like, wait a minute. Did you just do an American accent? Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'll guarantee you this: your American accent's better than any kind of effort I would put into trying to do a British accent.
You've got to do a British accent.
I'll have to practice. I'm
All
not
right.
doing it now. I'm not doing it now.
Next week.
It's not happening. It's not happening today by any means. Yeah, we've got a really heavy 2022 schedule. Not only are we getting all these fantastic series, we should be getting Lego Star Wars game and and like a brand new Star Wars show almost every week of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds about right. That's huge.
Yeah, it's fantastic. What else is there anything else that we've left? Oh, I know what we've left out. I and I almost let it go. Yesterday we were talking about the Hasbro release. I haven't got to talk to you about the Hasbro releases.
Yeah,
I know how much you love the yellow lightsabers, so I want to know how many of those Ray lightsabers did you order?
-5. They owe me 5 lightsabers.
I knew it. I knew it.
And that is more than I can handle. That's what she said.
That's what Sheev said.
Actually, I said that's what she said.
I
Was
know
the
you
text
did, but
joke.
I changed it to
Okay.
Sheev because Sheev likes to pick on you a lot too. So X-Wing, X-Wing actually tried to super chat me not to buy a Ray lightsaber, and so it didn't work. I still ordered one, and I'm very excited about it. For me, that is it's my favorite hilt of all. The yellow blade I'm okay with, but I need to find myself a green Force FX Elite blade so that I can switch out the blade color.
You want to know something depressing?
What's that?
Rey Skywalker is the last spoken words of the Skywalker saga.
It's not depressing.
It's like the woman's like, "Who are you?" "I'm Rey." "Rey who?" "Rey Skywalker." And then it's like, and then the Force theme gets, completely. This still makes me a bit sad to this day. I like those cinema reactions of people who lost it at the end.
So the next
Sorry.
question: how many Skittles troopers did you get?
Skittles troopers? Wait,
Yeah. You saw the Skittles troopers that the uh,
I
retro
thought that was
collection.
fan made.
No. Well, they're not actually called Skittles Troopers. We've named them that because of how you edit yourself here on my stream, and
Oh, Skittles, I remember.
yeah. So were you able to get any Skittles Troopers?
Is that just a way of saying bad stormtroopers? Because I used the word Skittles to replace another word that starts with S and ends in it.
Right. I know there. I know it's your edit. But did those colorful retro stormtroopers? Were you able
They
to
look
order?
really cool. I wasn't.
No, Mark got two. And we were talking with, I did a podcast yesterday with my friend Martin Keeler, Zuvium, and the guy from All the Cool Stuff. And
Mhm.
it was a great interview. We had a fun time talking about. But his store, All the Cool Stuff, they sell all kinds of collectibles, figures from Star Wars. They sold out of them right away. And by the way, Meg, I have nominated you to do the next podcast with them. So you may be hearing from uh, Martin Keeler again. He said he reached out to you to do a tour of the Zoovium, but you
I
haven't.
completely. I Okay. This is embarrassing. I was cooking. I got the message. And I never replied to him. I completely
Well,
forgot. I
he
felt
said
bad,
that you
but
he
I'm
said that you
honest
had
about it.
not. He's like she probably thinks I'm some creeper from the internet, but
No,
and so I told him I nominated you to do that podcast next. He goes, "Oh, great." And I'll be sending her another one. Can you come on to do a podcast with me? And she's already thinking that I'm
no,
a
I don't think that. It's like my granddaddy used to say. Well, he didn't say anything, but if he did, he would have said the difference between a creep on the internet and someone who isn't is punctuation. And Zuvium used full stops, so you know he's legit.
He is. I love Martin. He gives me a hard time, but he's fantastic. Target did sell out of the Skittles Troopers. I was not able to get any. He said in-demand toys in the UK still had them last night. So Meg, you have a chance. You still have a chance to get yourself some Skittles Troopers. That's uh,
Am I living in the Twilight Zone or is this a real thing?
we, we've called them Skittles Troopers. They're actually
Oh,
retro collection. I think they call them prototype. And this is the third along that line. There was a Darth Vader, then there was a Boba Fett, and now there are stormtroopers. And the challenge is to get one that's got the purple helmet.
the purple
So,
tip.
uh, you know, is
Um,
Nikki still
someone
here?
said
Did
I
you do
should
that
do.
just for?
Someone said I should do GPS voices. I agree. I was just trying to change the subject so that Google
I,
don't demonetize you.
I knew Nikki was still here. I knew it. And, and look what you've even got Adam. Look what you did.
Yeah.
The card backs on those retro are really really good. And X Wing's right. They're the only reason I want one is because of you. I'm like I need one because Meg is so fantastic, and you coined the Skittles for your edits, and so I'm like okay, I need a Skittles trooper, but
I like
I'm
that I'm associated with rainbows and color and all things bright and beautiful. That sounds like
that's
a hymn, but
it's very good, very good. And so with the, I can totally see the GPS voice. Oh no,
turn left in
I,
100 meters.
there you go. Um, oh my goodness, you guys are terrible. You're terrible. Um, so did you actually get anything from this Hasbro release? Was there
A
anything?
headache.
So you're with X-Wing. X-Wing just got a couple of little things, but largely it was a big miss for him. And I think uh, X-Wing, uh, he calls them
Shite
Skittles Troopers.
troopers.
Oh my goodness. Uh, 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 Much like Nikki was completely shut out this release as well. There was just nothing in it for her, and I'm taking that's your case as well. There was nothing for you.
The weird thing is, I don't keep up to date with action figures and toys and things, but I do collect them. On my Twitter bio, I mentioned that I'm an avid collector of prequel stuff because I am, but I'm really interested in like kind of 2000 to 2007 sort of figures, and I only go looking for them or Funko Pops of recent times. But when it comes to like vintage stuff and Black Series, I'm not a big collector.
Um, I've started because we're doing the giveaways on my channel of the vintage collection and the Black Series stuff. So those are things that I've begun to get, and I got the Razor Crest, the HasLab project from last year, and then I wanted all of the figures to go with it. So I've been collecting the Mando card vintage collection characters for my own collection. But then I had to give a whole bunch of them away because my older toys away so that I could make room for them, things like that. So,
You always
uh,
got to make room for the new toys. They're bigger,
absolutely.
better, and just give you that great sense of pleasure. Nikki?
Stop. Yeah, Nikki, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So Anthony asked another question. Anthony, when we're talking about Knights of the Old Republic remake, is it a game or they're making an animated series or live action series? It's a game, Anthony. It's a remake of the game. Now they did put on it that Lucas Games was involved with it. There's no such entity, right? They're not creating video games, but they're involved with the marketing of it. It's a video game remake. Now, Anthony does raise a pretty good question. What are the chances we might ever get a Knights of the Old Republic live action or animated series?
That would be an amazing idea, and I think that would kind of be a perfect marketing strategy for the game because there are tons of Star Wars fans out there who I know personally who don't know what Knights of the Old Republic was when this announcement came out. There are people who are perhaps more casual fans or even diehard fans who watch just the films or the animated series, and they may not be too familiar with that. So if you introduce an animated series or a movie to get people up to speed, they might be incentivized to buy the new remake.
I agree. And for me, like I mentioned, I've not followed the games very well. It's due to my own game addiction sort of issue. But I went back and I watched some game replay on YouTube, and I went and read a couple of the Revan novels. It was fantastic. But I think for a lot of fans, they have no idea who Revan is. And there was that whole bit a couple months ago about gatekeeping around Revan.
Oh, I
Uh,
remember that.
I don't know how big of a deal that was, but it there are loads of fans who have no idea about Revan, who he is, or his storyline. I think it would be fantastic to see him brought into a series, and the Knights of the Old Republic would satisfy a big portion of the fandom that are upset with the sequels. I think that's what they want. The High Republic is not what they were looking for, and the Knights of the Old Republic would certainly do a lot to help with
See,
that.
I agree with you, but in a way, that also brings a lot of hate because when it comes to the actual visual media outside of gaming, like when it's series or books, or sorry, not books, when it's series or movies, that is when you get all of the well, that's not the Revan I knew from the original game, and I think that would cause way more problems than the remake would. So it's kind of a balance. I guess Lucasfilm shouldn't care too much about that aspect, but they should care about making, if they do make it an animated series or film, a Revan and a storyline for the Old Republic that really does justice to the original story in the original game.
I agree with you. I think that there was a video Thor Skywalker put out yesterday about having alternate uh, uh, story arcs within Star Wars. So you've got Legends material and canon material, and should we get the uh, George Lucas sequels in some form for fans that would like to be able to keep up with that, even if it's under like a Legends banner?
Yeah.
My concern with all of that is that it reinforces some of the divide and would only harden it. And that's my issue with doing any kind of treatment of Revan or Bane. I saw the Goldman mention the Darth Bane trilogy. There was a rumor of a Darth Bane series at some point, and I think all of that. Oh no, What did I say?
Because you said,
I know what I said.
yeah, you,
You
you
know.
said it makes you hard. Wait, no, you didn't
No,
say it makes you
I
hard.
did not. I did
I'm
not.
so sorry.
Meg,
What did you say? You said
it would.
it makes me no.
No,
It hardens. No, something about a
the
tip.
fandom. It would
The
harden the
fandom.
divide.
Okay. Okay.
There I
By the
am
way,
hot
someone
again.
mentioned
Look,
there should have been a
like,
cool Wookiee in the High Republic. There is a Wookiee Jedi in the High Republic. Her name is Buryaga, I think.
oh my goodness, I'm
I'm
turning the
sorry.
color of my shirt again. This isn't good. This isn't good. Oh my goodness, you guys are killing me. Right, there's Mike, Mike Porter. Good to see you, friend. No, no,
Also,
that
speaking of the Gold Man, he has an excellent video about, I think it was called Why We Will Never Agree, about Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. I love The Last Jedi, and I think he was absolutely right when he said that, I don't want to butcher what he said, but he spoke about how the Mandalorian needs to show us how Luke goes from this Return of the Jedi hero to someone who is very recluse and perhaps has given up on the Jedi Order, and there needs to be a natural progression of how that happened. And they will explore that in different series, and we will go, oh, okay, so that's why it happened. But I
yeah.
think it might soften the blow for some fans who felt deceived by Luke in episode 8, because they were like, well, this isn't the Luke we know. But they have to remember there's been all of this time, like 28 years or something, between 6 and 7.
Right, and I am also a big fan of the Goldman. His documentaries are great. The one he did on Ray was great. I loved it, and the one that you just mentioned there about Why We'll Never Agree, very two very good videos. He put a lot of work into it, and it shows. They're really well done. Johnny 42 says you're never going to satisfy everyone, but you can't keep pandering to the lowest common factor. Especially those who don't support with their wallet, only with Twitter storms.
I
So,
agree with John. He's absolutely right. I was, defending this on a radio show I did with NPR last Christmas, and I was saying like we can't just call everyone toxic in this fandom, because it gives the assumption that everyone who didn't like the sequels is a toxic fan. And no, some of us, because I only like one of them, some of us just feel as though this is not the way you treat the property. This is not the way the fans have envisioned the stories, and maybe even envision is the wrong word. We can criticize things without being toxic about it or being labeled as toxic. And
yeah,
when we vote with our wallets, we've invested all this money in merch, in cinema tickets over the decades.
right, right. People are buying the games and the books and the comics and the collectibles, the figures, all of those, and to some degree, if you want to keep selling that stuff, you need to keep them invested. And when you release content that makes them feel like they've been pushed to the side, and then, like we talked about earlier, you come on social media and you kind of bash them, it's not good. All right, it needs to be. People need to be treated with respect on both sides,
Yeah,
and
for
and
sure.
and and let fans enjoy Star Wars for what it means to them, without making it um, without making it divisive, as best you can. There are certain people who are going to make it divisive, and it just has to be that way, um, because of the social climate we're in. But it's not something that the franchises, be it Star Wars, Lucasfilm, or uh, any of the others, Warner Brothers, you name it, should be engaging in. And I think that's where we've seen Lucasfilm not focused enough, not disciplined enough, and have made some fans feel like they're not welcome, and that's not good.
I've seen literal Reddit threads that were like talking about if you don't like the High Republic, you're a toxic fan. And I feel personally like, well, that's just not true, because I read Light of the Jedi front to back. I gave up about halfway through and then I just plowed through it. I did not like that book. I like elements of Out of the Shadows. I tried to give it a second chance, but for me, the High Republic is not my. It's not my Star Wars. It's not a Star Wars I relate to. I don't like the treatment of the Force. I don't like the cartoonish way that they represent some very core elements of what we know as Star Wars. Whether that's the Jedi Order, whether that's the species that we've come to know from George Lucas and Dave Filoni over the years. And I just don't like it. That doesn't make me toxic. I'm allowed to have an
No.
opinion about it. I made a video why I thought, it was in light of the Geode situation. And, I know he's deliberately meant to be comic relief. I know that, he's not some central character. And I know he's not meant to be taken too seriously. But that was the time when people were talking about it, that I made a video expressing why I don't like the High Republic, and people labeled me as toxic. But I just don't think that's a fair assessment, because I wasn't criticizing any specific element of the books to do with characters or to do with like how they interact. I just didn't feel as though that was how I imagined that time period, which we didn't know much about.
Yeah. And I have largely enjoyed the High Republic stuff. Here Dearest Fires, right? Like, it's fine for, and what I really like about the current uh, movement we see with Star Wars is there's a little bit for everybody. And somebody brought up just a moment ago about the Visions, right? Visions is coming out. And Visions is going to not necessarily be for everybody. Or at least there's a lot of different episodes, and maybe not every episode would be for a a person, right? So I'm expecting that I will like some and I won't like others, and and that it may reach an audience that Star Wars hasn't reached before, and that's good. It's good that we reach more people. And there's X-Wing with another super chat. Thank you so much. He's he's supporting us because the conversations. These are the conversations we should be having as fans. Thank you, X-Wing. And I had a great time visiting with him. We were finally able to do a live stream together, and you're absolutely right. As fans, we need to be able to agree to disagree, and not think lesser of somebody who has an opinion different than you. And if Visions reaches a whole bunch of anime fans, and I just saw Alex at Star Wars Explained did a review of the latest manga book that's related to the High Republic. It wasn't necessarily his favorite High Republic. He enjoyed it, but it wasn't necessarily his favorite. But he was happy that it was going to reach people that maybe it wasn't reaching, because they are fans of manga, and it'll bring them in because they're fans of that platform. It's the same with Visions. I think it's liable to reach people that Star Wars hasn't reached before, and that's great.
Yeah, exactly. I used to love anime in my teenage years, and then I kind of really didn't like it anymore. But when I saw the Visions trailer, I was really pumped. I think this collaboration between these studios, these anime studios and Lucasfilm, could work absolutely perfectly. And as you say, there are stories we may not like. There may be stories we really love, but we're reaching different audiences. And Star Wars, like any franchise, like any property that's been going on for decades, it has to evolve. It has to change. And sometimes we might not like some of the changes, as long as they're keeping true to the spirit of the franchise, the spirit of what George Lucas created, while also moving in a direction which attracts new fans that maybe, we're reaching across the aisle to anime or whatever it might be in the future. Then I'm all for it. And I'm really happy that there are people who love the High Republic. I'm really happy there are people who love The Rise of Skywalker. It makes me happy. Their happiness makes me kind of want to see things in a different way. It's why I subscribe to people like The Gold Man and Palpa Memes, who are both very good sequels channels. I'm not a big sequels fan, but I love hearing their perspective. Their passion ignites my personal passion for stuff like the prequels, the original trilogy, the now Legends prequels books, whether it's Rogue Planet or The Cloak of Deception, The Approaching Storm, all of these novels that I grew up loving. I see their passion for that side of the franchise in my own love for this side of it.
That's fantastic, and I think that's why you see, you and I have been able to collaborate together. My passion for the sequels is different than your passion, and your passion for the prequels is different than mine. And there's Mike Porter again with another super chat. Thank you. And a 99 cent dollar super chat. My, and you see he changes his name now. It's Mike Babu Frick with a tiny lightsaber.
That's brilliant.
he's I love Mike. He's fantastic guy. And but when you're able to have these kind of conversations, I think it, as you said, it ignites your own passion. And when folks can see that people with differing opinions can share a passion for a franchise with different kinds of enjoyment for different content, I think that's what makes it attractive to people.
Yeah, for sure. And
Well, let's
they see the criticisms in the prequels that I might also understand, but I don't see as criticism, like I don't see as bad things, and I have criticisms about the sequels that they might think are good things. Like, oh, it's good they changed this. It's good they give us a different perspective, and I'll agree to disagree. But I love the way that Star Wars fans can enjoy properties that mean a lot to them because we do have that in common.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, just a brief recap on the talk that we've had today. We've got KOTOR coming out. I think people are excited, and a lot of the fear mongering going on. I think let's just tap the brakes on it and be excited that it's come out, and maybe set your expectations that if there's a new environment that you didn't see before, or maybe an environment that you did see before looks different, that might be fine. And just wait until we see. I don't know that if you were to take an actual guess when KOTOR we'd see some gameplay or the game release, what would be your actual guess?
Next year, so because 2021, the rest of it, what's left of it, is already jam packed. We've got Visions coming in like what 10 days. We've got the big announcement, the big Disney Plus event. Then we've got the Book of Boba Fett. I don't think we're going to see anything till next year, but it should be next year.
Yeah,
If they're really on top of it, we don't know the situation with Aspire and everything behind the scenes.
I
But
do hope we do get some gameplay at least, right?
yeah,
If the
I think
game
that's
isn't,
reasonable.
I think the game may not release until 2023, but I would hope that we get some gameplay next year. That'd just be my own guess on it. Goldman is saying 2024 if he had to guess. So
I wouldn't put it past them. I
yeah.
also just want to address something Mark Hamilton says, which unfortunately we didn't get to speak about. He says hopefully we get lots of Luke in the Mandoverse, and I
Oh,
was talking to you about something that Star Wars Only mentioned on Twitter, and I think he mentioned on Tatooine to do with Han Solo in Carbonite and Luke showing up in the Book of
yes.
Boba.
Yes. So just to transition to that a little bit, we do know, just a recap again, real quick. The Kenobi it may release May, June of next summer, it looks like, based on some other evidences. Mando 3 is going filming from September until April of next year. And when you talk about the Book of Boba Fett and some of the cameos, we do have a bingo game based on some of the cameos you may think you'll see. And if you join our Discord, the Santa's Covert, then I could give you a bingo card. You can kind of fill it out of some of these people that we think might appear. And some of the rumors have involved Luke and Grogu. Those came from some time ago, but also perhaps seeing Han Solo. So I've heard that as well. Um, the speculation is, will it be Carbonite Han Solo? Will it be an aged up? Uh, um, oh, what's his name again? The actor, um, Alden Ehrenreich, right?
Alden Ehrenreich, yeah.
Will he be aged up? Will we see some footage from Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi? What kind of context might we get with a Han Solo cameo?
I'm going to say none of those. I think it's going to be Han Solo in Carbonite. That's it. Just like we had, think to the Mandalorian season 1, after the Mythrol gets put in Carbonite, that kind of frame, or even Return of the Jedi, and the end of Empire Strikes Back on Cloud City, you're just going to see Han in Carbonite. They can easily make a version of that, a prop of that for the set. I don't think we're going to see Han. And obviously, this is all in flashbacks to sort of the War of the Bounty Hunters timeline between episodes 5 and 6. I don't think we'll see Han Solo in the present, although I think Star Wars Only would disagree with me because he's adamant we're going to see Han Solo talking, breathing, moving in the present timeline, and there's even talk of Maz Kanata.
Oh, well, there you go, dropping another one. Real quick on the carbonite Han Solo. That's not to be confused with the carbonized stuff that Hasbro's been giving us. So there's that. Not carbonized, but carbonite. Carbonite Han Solo. Kira, you mentioned the Bounty Hunters comic series. Kira, of course, took him in Carbonite, and there's some speculation she might be a cameo. Do you think Kira will show up and related to that Han Solo and Carbonite?
I'm honestly, I don't know if I can say this. I've changed my mind. So I've been a very big advocate for that in the past. But I'm going to say she's not going to appear. I'm afraid.
Oh,
And neither
so
is Omega.
no, I think it's too soon to put Omega in as well. So there's that. We got $5 Canadian from Novak. Thank you so much, Novak. One of your supporters who's come over and supports my channel as well. Thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. Buy ourselves a couple bags of Skittles. Thank you so much. And yeah, Amelia Clark. I don't know that there's been any rumors or association with Amelia Clark and
It
the
would have
Book of
been
Boba
physically
Fett.
impossible, is what I've been told, because we know where she's been schedule-wise for her own projects over the last few months. It's not logistically possible. Unless,
Well,
of course, they like flew her over for like a day, you know. Obviously, we don't know literally everywhere she's been, but from what I've heard from my source, the logistics don't make sense, and they've heard nothing about Kira. And I also think it would take so much away from the plot if we've got all of these original trilogy characters. Obviously, it ties into the Han Solo plot, but what I will say to you is, and this is something I can't speak about explicitly, but what I will say is there's going to be a couple of very unpopular choices in the Book of Boba Fett.
oh, like maybe Din Djarin kills Boba Fett and takes the Slave One, renames it to the Fire Spray, and then he has his new ship.
I swear, every time I record or I'm on a stream, like Uber Eats motorbikes just know the signal to be loud outside. Sorry.
That's great. That's great. No, I keep saying that because I'm hazing my friend Sheev the Wise, and and giving him a hard time. But no, you mentioned Maz Kanata. Now, Maz Kanata, she does show up in the High Republic novels. They send them out to go meet Maz, and she's in the sequel trilogy, so she covers that whole era from the High Republic through the sequels. She certainly would be in the kind of category for a bounty hunter um, uh, kind of destination. So I could see it. I've just never.
Yeah.
I personally have not heard any rumors that
See,
put
this
her
isn't from
within
me.
that scope.
This is Star Wars only. He says that Maz Kanata's castle is a big factor in one of the episodes. So we'll see. I don't want to butcher what he said, but I'm
Yeah.
sure he'll talk about it again. But interestingly enough, I do know a couple of things. Someone mentioned the Andor series. That show's really going to surprise you. I've been hyping it on my channel. I have seen some mock-ups of concept art, and I've also seen some wardrobe stuff, some designs, which really, truly surprised me. which I didn't ever expect in that show. And it's not someone you would expect either. Like we could guess all day,
Right.
unless you're really savvy with what's going on.
No, I'm not. I'm not. No. I'm
But
not even.
I don't know if you covered this because I was a bit ill last week. The Jabba the Hutt and Darth Vader news. I don't know if you covered that.
I did not. I put them on the bingo card because of the flashbacks to Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I do think that they could show up in context of flashbacks for sure. Then the question is, I mean, Jabba's dead. It'd have to be flashback, but would we get Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader in the Book of Boba Fett? Um, Again, it'd be flashback, but at the same time, would it be new footage?
Darth Vader is listed on the merch line for the Book of Boba in a couple of places, and that to me was really interesting. That they have merch lined up that includes Darth Vader for the Book of Boba Fett, and I'm really curious to see how that plays in.
Yeah.
Because you could easily think back to the Mandalorian season 2 when Boba is in the Slave One and he notices the Empire is back, and he gets really scared. He's like, "The Empire is back." We could have another moment like that, and then he has a flashback to when he was hired by Darth Vader to capture Han Solo. It could literally be
Ah,
2 seconds. But I will say another thing which kind of got lost in the pond, as we say, is the Darth Vader stuff. It might be a mislead because it's just like people thought Tamara Morrison was filming for Obi-Wan Kenobi,
mm,
and now it's rumored that he was actually filming for Andor. So Hayden Christensen filming for other series other than Kenobi, it might not have been for the Book of Boba Fett. It might have been for something else. Maybe
sure.
even maybe even the Ahsoka series. I know it's not
Ooh,
in production yet, but it just makes perfect sense to have Hayden's Force Ghost in that show.
you raise a couple of really good points there, and I got to be careful not to chase the rabbit down the hole too far. But there was some talk off and on about Mando season three footage already being filmed as part of that Boba Fett filming, and I still believe that they have all of the right assets there. They have the right people. They have the right directors, and I would not be surprised at all to learn that they've got a few scenes from Mandalorian season three already filmed, just because of it being already set up for it. And in the same manner, to see Hayden shoot some Force Ghost scenes or to do some content for the Book of Boba Fett while he's on set for Andor or for Kenobi, then it would make sense. You're able to dial up in those stagecraft and that the volume. You can dial up any scene you need, and he could do several scenes in a day for different series.
Santa, you're making it very difficult for me to not say something. You're making it so difficult to not tell you something. I'm
Just
terrible
say
with secrets.
Skittles. Just
I can't say something, but what I will say is they did film something massive during season 2 that will appear, and the logistics of it was, oh, I can't say this because it's because it no, no.
no, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Mark, no, no, don't do it.
Let me just say this. Actually, I can say this. If one, I know X-Wing knows about this. If you can find the right Ming-Na Wen interview where she slips up, that
Yeah,
might reveal to you something.
X-Wing definitely knows about that.
Well,
I,
basically, they filmed something at the same time as something else, so that they could make that secrecy thing in one go. I'm not saying anything else.
there you go. And the last thing we need is for Nikki, and Meg to become closer friends. That I forbid it.
This
No,
is getting out of
I
hand now.
can't,
There are two of
I
them.
can't, I can't. Uh, uh, but right, that let's see. I saw a comment up here. I saw a comment. Let me get back up. It keeps jumping on me. Um, yeah, let's see. But I did. I think we heard that, and maybe it was Jason Ward that brought it up that some some physical assets related to Jabba were seen, and that new Jabba footage is in scope for the Book of Boba Fett. That we may get new Jabba footage, not
That
just
is very cool.
flashback, but actual new footage. So that's what raises the question to me to say, okay, and to be clear, they weren't sure that it was Jabba. It was a hut, right? So
It
there's
was a hut.
it was a hut. The presumption is that it was Jabba, and that they're doing new Jabba footage for this series. So that's sort of where my brain is on the Vader for the Book of Boba Fett, right? So you mentioned, did I talk about the Jabba the Hutt and the Vader with the Book of Boba Fett? My question is, will it be new footage or will it be reused footage from the movies or something like that?
They wouldn't do reused footage. It's not Robert Rodriguez style. He likes everything fresh, everything new. He says he's gone all out. This show's going to be all killer, no filler. It's going to blow our minds. They've gone for new footage. The reason being, they're trying to show a different interaction between the two characters, because you've got to be honest. Like with a Boba Fett series, you have to have those legacy characters that are attached to Boba. This is the place to have them. Jabba the Hutt's interactions with Boba was such a huge part of, the original trilogy era
Right.
Boba, and who he was interacting with, who he was hired by. Jabba the Hutt placed a bounty on his own head when he lost Han Solo in Carbonite. So if I was, without these scoops, if I was to put good money on one character making some kind of flashback appearance, it would be Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. Yeah. I I think that'd be, I think that's good. And I think Hayden shooting new footage for Darth Vader is also very likely.
Do you want to know something that no one's brought up? That's
Sure.
kind of that you might want to keep in mind, but not directly. Boba Fett, if this is a revenge list, he doesn't like Obi-Wan very much, but he's not aware that he's dead.
Oh, interesting. That does
That's
raise
a
some
hint, but it's not a
right.
direct it's
Uh,
not a direct anything, but it is a hint of something
so
really
Tim wants to see
fascinating.
Bosk and Dengar mainly so that he can get Bosk on another TVC card. That's, Tim needs more Bosks on different cards, and so if you get Bosk on a Book of Boba Fett TVC card, then he'll have something else to go buy. That's what he's. That's what he's.
I think Dengar and Bosk are. I mean, Bosk we know from LRM is very likely to make an appearance.
Yeah. So Anthony asked a question before. I had it up there just a little bit.
I don't know if
Do
I
you,
saw it.
nah, other than Mace, what other Jedi Council members could you see showing up in one of these series? And I'll say that during my podcast interview yesterday, I was asked a certain question about a Jedi Council member, and I referenced you in the response because of your affection for a certain Jedi Council member, right? So,
Is this Yaddle?
Yaddle, that's right. So, I do think Yaddle could show up. Why not?
I don't think we're ever going to see Yaddle in live action again, unfortunately, or at least for now. I mean, if they do tie in, for example, if we see where Grogu and Luke went, and Luke's like, "Oh, I knew your father, or a species like you called Master Yoda, and he's the one who taught me," and then Grogu makes like those "Ado" sounds, and then Luke's like, "Oh yeah, and this other one's still out there. I felt her in the Force. I used my Force to feel her." Wait, no. Um, Yaddle. Yaddle.
Yaddle,
Yaddle.
back to
Yaddle.
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 X-Wing says Ayla Secura. And I
She
saw Plo
literally
Koon.
got shot 7 or 8 times on Felucia. She's not alive. But going back to the question, if we will see any Jedi Council members, I'm going to say no. Flat out no.
Flat out no.
Flat out no, because there are other I can't see. This is why I can't say anything, because
Right.
you'll know who I'm talking about.
Well, let me tell you the question I was asked during that podcast. I was said, name a Jedi Council member that you think most likely smells like cabbage. And my answer was Yaddle. So there you go.
Smells like cabbage.
Yeah.
I would say Operancisis.
I had to say Yaddle. I mean, I couldn't help myself.
Mace lives. Say it, Meg. Mace lives. I mean, I think Mace lives. You'll
I
just
think
have
he
to
does
find
too.
out.
Right. Uh, yeah, excellent. She got straight murdered. Uh, there it is right there. That's what I tried to click. Yardley sure makes Yoda's lightsaber light up. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this isn't. I mean, this isn't really a leak because it's not huge information, but I can tell you one character who is going to appear.
What's that?
Unnamed Rodian.
Unnamed Rhodian.
I
Oh,
kid you not. In the Book of Boba, there is an unnamed Rodian.
I saw that before and I
You
was
saw that
like,
one?
yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, uh, well, we know who it's not.
No, because he's dead.
He's
And
dead.
Han shot first.
That's exactly true. That's it. And in fact, I've heard it clarified even. Han is the only one who shot
Conehead, does Nikki mean Kiadimundi?
Kiadi Mundi. Yeah, that's who she's
He does
talking
not
about.
smell like that. He's a political idealist, not a murderer. Is that the
Oh
quote?
my goodness. Mark, why are you typing that in the chat? Why
Did Yoda ever twaddle yaddle?
why would you read that? Oh, you guys are terrible. You're terrible. Uh,
I mean, I can start just beeping myself, like censoring myself when I speak. Did Yoda ever beep yaddle in the beep beep?
Karen, Stormtrooper number 2, and I saw earlier we had dancer number 2 or a dancer number 4, something like that. So there you go.
Yoda was probably horny.
Oh my goodness, you guys.
True, Kiadimundi must have a very satisfied wife. He had multiple wives.
He did. And that's a good point. He did because his species had a population issue, and they needed to have more children. So yes, he had multiple. Greedo grandson. Oh, there you go. The book of Greedo's grandson. Get out for revenge for those.
Do you know who no one mentions anymore is W. Wald? Do you know that guy? He's the small Rodian in the Phantom Menace. He'd still be alive.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anakin's friend.
Yeah, he actually interacted with Leia. I read
That's
way
right.
too much Star Wars.
Uh,
He
that's
actually
good.
ran a shop called Wald's Parts, which is canon, I think.
Oh boy. How about Coleman Trebar or Tarver or Jocasta Nu? Now Jocasta Nu, a lot of people have
Santa, I don't think you can
okay.
say.
Okay. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. I just think she has been rumored as the one who perhaps saved Grogu. There's been speculation.
Speculation.
So
Just
we'll-
speculation, nothing
just
more.
speculation.
This
No,
is not the
'cause
leak you're looking for. Move
that's
along.
right. There have also been speculation that could have been Mace Windu who saved Grogu. Jocasta Nu, Mace Windu. I think those
After
are the
he fell
three.
out the window.
He got yeeted out the window. So there you go. And, my kids love it when I say words that they think are I'm not cool enough to say. So it's quite entertaining when I say Mace Windu got yeeted out a window. They're like, Dad, stop, just stop. I'm like, okay.
Fair enough.
But yeah. Okay. Before we get Meg in any more trouble for letting secrets out that she couldn't let out, Dexter Jexter. There you go.
Oh, he
Might we-
needs to appear in Kenobi. He's got to appear.
He has to appear.
It's not a leak or rumor. I just think it makes sense.
Right. Right.
But how would they do it? Would they do it CGI or get a creepy looking costume?
Well, that's a good question. That we should put
It's the same
that.
with Gungans. There's so many species from the prequels. Like, how do you bring them back? Toydarians, Gungans, whatever he is.
Yes, yes. So now you got me thinking. We should put that on some predictions. Like we will see Dexter Jettster in some sort of physical form or just the CGI. That's a good question. That's a
Like,
good
how would
question.
Jar Jar Binks? I mean, Ahmed Best said he's not working on Kenobi.
Right, right.
But if we do see Jar Jar Binks, like, how are they going to do that? I think you showed me the
I did.
non CGI real life. That was creepy.
It's
He
the
looks like
Darth.
an evil reptile.
Yeah, the Darth Jar Jar. It does look like an evil reptile. Reptile. Yeah. So Watto and Dexter. Yeah, Watto. Give me Watto.
Star Wars
We could,
characters have the funniest names.
I think you could see Watto again. It's
Didn't
possible.
Watto get slaughtered by Vader?
But
Oh, that's not
you go.
yet.
But that's
That's
not
not yet.
yet.
No.
Right. Right. It's not yet. So there you have it. Okay. Well, we've gone long enough. We've already gotten ourselves in plenty of trouble. So you guys, Meg, thank you again for being here and for taking some time out today. I know we went a
Thank you
little
so
bit later.
much.
We got our schedules lined up. I've had fun as we always do when we're able to spend time together. And folks in the chat, you guys have been great. We've had some great people here in the chat with us today. X-Wing, as usual, we had the Gold Man, Hero Dares Fire, a lot of our regulars, Nikki, and Mark, Kieran, all of you all, Dale, thank you so much. And until next time, my friends, we will talk to you next week. Have a great weekend. Have a fantastic day. And until next time, Merry Christmas and may the force be with you always. Bye bye.